Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Show with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Show. We are here for the Thursday 6-game main slate over on DraftKings. I know many of you have probably had your eyes glued to the basketball scene today with March Madness going on here, but hopefully you haven't forgotten about us. We got a little 6-game DFS slate as we approach the end of the NBA regular season. Some notable injury news that we are still waiting on, some other guys that we've already gotten. So once again, it should be a fun slate starting at 7 o'clock Eastern. It runs to the 9 o'clock hour. They did not include the 10 p.m. game here today.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting slate. We got a lot of news ahead of time, mostly Utah on the second leg of a back-to-back. We got some Milwaukee news, which we kind of expected Chris Middleton to be ruled out after being extended yesterday. Still obviously waiting on the Giannis stuff. The Bulls news we're kind of waiting on. And we got Washington out early. So, like, seems pretty... We got everything, right? Like, we're waiting on the Giannis. Yeah. Questionable. That's an 8 p.m. game. We're not going to know that. Possibly won't know that before lock. Chicago, also 8 p.m. news. But, you know, pretty straightforward, I think.
I mean, I'm with you there, right? We look at the matchups that are on today's board here, and again, we went over this on the morning show here. So if you don't have time to watch us live all the time, we do the preview show in the morning. New Orleans, Orlando's getting 2.5. It's a 207.5 game total. Sacramento, Washington at home getting 11, 238.5. Washington getting healthier for this one. They have Denny in, they have Holmes in. We're expecting Kuzma, Poole, so healthier version of Washington than we've seen in recent games. They have Sacramento, Chicago, Houston giving 4, 219 total. Brooklyn, Milwaukee 9.5 home favorites, 220.5 total there. Don't have the Giannis news yet. They already ruled out Chris Middleton, so kind of watching and waiting to see what happens in Milwaukee. Like you said, Utah, Dallas is giving 14, 237 total there. Utah, no John Collins tonight. Lauri Markkanen coming back. Did we get official Clarkson news?
Yeah, he's out.
Out. Okay, Clarkson officially out. So, Dallas big home favorites here today. Knicks, Denver close out the slate. Denver giving 9, 208 total in that one. So, definitely some high profile teams, some matchups we're looking at. If you go look at our ownership percentages, which were updated just before we went live here today, you'll see some interesting names up at the top. Some we certainly were talking about this morning. Maybe a few that are a bit surprising, but let's just jump into this slate here. If you're over on DraftKings tonight and you're looking at Luka Doncic at 12-7, James, are you plugging him into your lineup?
I mean, it's not a bad idea to plug Luka Doncic into your lineup ever. Especially like considering he's been so bad from an efficiency standpoint. I mean, 3 of the last 4 games, sub 30 or sub 40% shooting. The one game in which he did shoot well, 44%. This is definitely a get right spot for Luka against a really, really bad and up-tempo Utah Jazz team. The obvious concern is Dallas blowing them out of the water, getting Utah on the second leg of a back-to-back. So right. I think we see as many minutes as humanly possible out of Luka, just factoring in standings, right? Dallas, currently the 7 seed, John. They are half a game back of Sacramento to be out of the play-in game.
Yeah.
I think it's like one of those situations where they're not going to feel safe until like basically clocks at 0, especially with the way the 3-ball can change games these days. So I still think we pretty much, even in a blowout scenario, get close to 40 minutes out of Luka. So no problem clicking him on DraftKings and just kind of moving on from there.
Moving on into that 9K tier, you have Lillard, Irving, Fox, and Brunson. We've talked extensively about Jalen Brunson lately. 35, 36, 38 minutes. I know some other players on the Knicks are playing all 48. Other guards on this team played 46 the other day. But Brunson's the one doing all the heavy lifting here when it comes to scoring. 3 straight games, over 25 shot attempts. Does going into Denver worry you at all here tonight for Jalen Brunson when it comes to the minutes he's been playing?
Sure. This is their 4th straight road game. This is something that you've pointed out a lot, right? You always are the first person to be like, well, things have been going well, but what happens when they're now in the fourth road game in a row um, in a week, and now it's Denver to cap off this 4-game road trip? I mean, we know the shot attempts are going to be there 25, 28, 30. You know the scoring is going to be there. He gets to the free throw line. He makes threes. Peripheral stats are good. No one's playing him again, John.
Right.
That's like everyone's playing De'Aaron Fox, right? And everyone's for good reason playing De'Aaron.
Right.
And everyone's going to pivot to Dame if Giannis is ruled out. Brunson's a fine pivot off those guys. He's cheaper. He has the team to himself essentially with no Julius Randle, and we keep saying that. And he just keeps scoring, and nobody can stop him in pick and roll. No one can stop him in isolation, and he gets so. If you want a lone pivot off Fox and possibly a chalky Lillard, sans Giannis, I mean, by all means, do it because again, the Knicks are good enough to hang around. I think against Denver, and if they're a good defensive team without OG Anunoby. I think obviously having your starters play 48 minutes helps, especially with they seem less gassed than other teams at the end of games, which is crazy to think when they're the guys playing all the minutes. But I'm good with Brunson in tournaments as a pivot away from Lillard potentially by himself or De'Aaron Fox against Washington.
I agree with you there. In the mid-tier range, again, guys that we've kind of been targeting lately, dual positional eligibility for some. Jalen Green has obviously been going off here lately. Fred VanVleet's there. No Şengün. It just kind of opened up the ability to kind of stack them. I mean, even Amen Thompson with point guard eligibility, one of the more popular plays here today. But where are you going when it comes to the mid-tier range? Any of these stick out to you more than the others, or are you kind of just eyeing the value tier here today?
Yeah, I think Houston definitely stands out, right? I find it very interesting Jalen Green's only getting 12%, and I understand it because a lot of the field's getting to Luka. So just playing Luka, Jalen Green is tough to do. That's
right.
Your lineup. You're kind of constricting your lineup. So a lot of people are just pivoting to Amen Thompson instead, right? Amen Thompson getting 28%. He obviously has better eligibility too. He's obviously cheaper. Jalen Green definitely has the ceiling, though. I mean, 51, 54, 67 fantasy points, 42, 26, 37 actual. Every three he's taking is going in. The rebounds have been amazing for Jalen Green, 7+ in 4 straight games. So definitely another guy a little bit interesting to get to in tournaments. I think so is VanVleet. He had been rolling before that last game.
Right.
What is he going to do? I mean, the guy had 42. His counterpart, his teammate had 42 points. What are you supposed to do?
We talk about this all the time, right? When Kyrie Irving can't get anything going because Luka's scoring, or Kevin Durant can't do anything because Booker and Beal are having days, right? They just it's hard for everybody to score 50 fantasy points, right? So
I have no problem getting to VanVleet. You mentioned Amen Thompson for sure going to be in play here, especially considering finally got the minutes were really nice to see. Chicago's been really bad defensively. They could be super shorthanded if Kobe White and Alex Caruso don't play. I do have some interest in Jordan Poole. I know Kuzma's back. I mean, dude, he just went 5 of 18 last game.
Right.
He went 12 of 19 the game prior in 23 minutes. Yeah, Kuzma's back. Yeah, Denny's back. But we know Jordan Poole is still going to take his shots. If he's in the starting lineup, I do like Jordan Poole in tournaments.
Can take one of our value plays off the board. Nick Claxton available today. I know we were all hoping for the Day'Ron Sharp experience here tonight.
He did not go through shoot around, so I was kind of thinking, there was a little trending towards not going. And then you get to the value tier, and I think everyone's going to gravitate to McBride, $4,700 point guard, shooting guard eligibility. I don't think the 29 points is sustainable. I'm not saying he can't score, but 29 is a lot of points when he went 9 of 13 for the floor,
playing
right?
next to Brunson. You don't expect many guys to have that kind of scoring output, right?
It was the efficiency, really. 6 for 9 from 3, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. He had taken he's taken one free throw in March before that. One singular free throw prior to those 6. So a little bit of an anomaly but 4,700, he's going to play 48 minutes. So we say it all the time, like opportunity, right?
Yep.
Beverly is a little bit interesting. If Giannis does get ruled out, we could see somewhere close to 30 minutes. I don't love the price increase, especially after
Yeah, he got the back-to-back bump.
yeah, the back-to-back bump. I don't love that he got the back-to-back bump. Then there's other value plays. Like Cole Anthony had a monster game the other day. He's kind of usurped Markelle Fultz. Keon Ellis is someone that I've been pretty high on lately. $4,100.
Yeah.
He's going to start with Kevin Huerter ruled out, only 25 minutes in the blowout. But as you can see, that seems to be the floor in terms of minutes. I don't know if this steals and blocks. I'm going to say it again. I don't know if they are sustainable, John.
Right.
But he's doing it every game.
2 straight games, 4 and 5. I mean, even here, 4, 3, 6,
it's
5, right?
It's 5 straight games of minutes plus stocks, right?
Defense.
So Keon Ellis is a little bit interesting. I saw Dante Exum made your playbook. What's your feel on Exum? Do you think the Josh Green absence is leading to more minutes?
I think the Green absence. I think the potential for this game to be a blowout also could lead to some more minutes for him. I liked the 28 minutes that he got the other day. Obviously, he had played 25 and 22 and 2 of the last 3 prior to that as well. So, yeah, some more value if you want to be a little bit different and you're playing some game theory here. Revenge game maybe even against his former team. So, and we talked about it on the show, right? Earlier this year, he was getting a lot of different playing time and being very productive. Now, it's difficult for him to be super productive when Luka and Kyrie Irving are playing, but you kind of brought it up, right? No Josh Green, and they're not really giving Tim Hardaway Jr. a lot of playing time. So if Exum's going to be locked into, 28 minutes last game in a competitive game, maybe he gets 25 to 30 minutes tonight in a non-competitive game if this one ends up going south, which the way Vegas is saying,
Yeah, mid-20s minutes seems like a safe projection for Exum. 28 is nice in theory, but mid-20s seems more reasonable.
Yeah, kind of where I'm at with it. So I think there's some potential pivoting because again, I am, I can't argue against Keon Ellis, but I am slightly skeptical of if he doesn't get the defense, then his point totals are in the low teens, right? So, just kind of giving that a shout there. Shooting guard position, Kyrie Irving is up here. We talked about him a little bit at point guard. Talked Jalen Green, Colin Sexton at 74. Cam Thomas is the cover of my playbook today. I really like Cam Thomas today. I think the matchup for him is going to be kind of beneficial. Plus, if you're looking at sort of the games on this slate and the matchups to where maybe we end up in a bit more of a shootout, this game does have a 220.5 total. It's one of the higher ones on the board. It's 9.5 point spread, but as you said, Milwaukee on the back-to-back. They've ruled some guys out here. Cam Thomas is free reign to shoot as much as he wants. So, I do like Cam Thomas at 7,200 today.
Yeah, and he's playing in blowouts. He's getting 30 minutes right now, regardless. Switch your head coach, and you give Cam Thomas all the minutes. So, definitely interested there.
Yep. Where are you going in the mid-tier?
I think Io DeSumo is good if Kobe White, Alex Caruso sit. Probably can't pay 6,900 if Kobe's back, but
yeah, Kobe went through full practice. They said.
So I assume he's it. I assume he's back. Caruso is less certain, but he's always injured. Who knows what he's going to do. I don't really have anything else in the mid tier though. Most of the value plays we've already talked about. I would say Malik Monk, shooting guard, small forward eligibility.
I mean, he's getting super chalk.
Dude, he was great yesterday. He played 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But is that not live to happen again?
Very live to happen again.
Very live to happen again. So I definitely think in a competitive game, you see Monk without Huerter could potentially play 40 minutes, but we just don't know what this game's going to look like. What is it is an 11-point spread.
Yeah.
238.5 total is obviously incredibly interesting. Washington's so bad defensively, and so they play so fast. So I want exposure to this game.
So for me, I'm going Malik Beasley, shooting guard. 5,100. The minutes have been good. No Middleton now. Maybe no Giannis tonight. Like, I just think he is going to play and he's going to take shots. So I'm good with him here today.
I'll let you have Malik Beasley. I'm fine with in tournaments. I'll let you have it.
Okay. I mean, he's been pretty good for the most part, so I'm happy.
I know we were back over 5K, and like I'm not saying he doesn't have like
barely over 5K.
Still over 5K. It doesn't really flash like a ceiling at this price.
I mean, he's been okay. I mean, he's safe enough.
I'm not saying I didn't say he wasn't. I also said ceiling.
Sure.
Like listen.
He's alive for 5 guy. So
he is definitely live for 5, and my interest may grow if there's no Giannis.
Sure.
We'll see at that point.
Okay. KCP at 4K. Other one I just throw out there.
Yeah, I mean, where'd it go? Where'd all the good solid production go?
The minutes are still there, and this game like could be sneaky competitive with the way the Knicks play, right? So
Yep.
Get them back home. 4 straight road games. Get them back home. Maybe things click a little bit. Small forward position. DeRozan and Laurie are up at the top. Josh Hart played all 48 minutes the other day. We fawned over him for probably way too long of this morning show. Denny at 68, coming off some monster games. He's just been out for like 3 games now, but I mean, this dude was unstoppable for a run there in the mid tier. So I think those guys that I just mentioned are some probably key plays to look at. Laurie, I guess, is maybe a bit interesting because he played all those minutes. Then he missed some time, and now he's back off the injury list. So it's like, are there going to be any limitations for him? There is no John Collins, no Clarkson. So plenty of opportunities to shoot the basketball here tonight for him.
Yeah, it seems like we get like an increase from 31 to probably like mid 30s minutes, which is usually where he plays regardless. So marking in tournaments, definitely fine. Wouldn't mind like that game has 238.5 total. If you want to play him and Luka, and that's your like GPP where you start with GPPs, that's fine.
Yeah.
Definitely DeRozan's interesting. Big pace up spot for the Bulls. Houston playing at the 3rd fastest pace since the All-Star break. So a big pace up spot for Chicago. I mean, can Josh Hart play 48 in Denver is the question. I'm not putting it past him to play 40, 41, 42, 43. Can he play all 48 in Denver in altitude, 4th straight road game? We'll see. Because if he can, then he's going to pay off 7,300 because he's just going to have so many opportunities. And we saw the shot attempts again with OG out. Go back up from 8 and 7 to 18. Like, that's not a coincidence. Like, Josh Hart playing alongside, Hartenstein, who, for as good as he is, isn't offensive first.
Right.
They are bringing like Bogey off the bench. That's their like probably. I mean, DiVincenzo's their second best offensive option in their lineup. And McBride. Like McBride had a ceiling offensive game, but like you don't think of McBride as Hart still cleared him by 5 shots. So I do think as long as Hart plays those monster minutes, he's in play. What on the Denny point? What do you make of his ownership? Because he's getting 22% rostership. That's the 3rd highest ownership at small forward. And the only reason it's 3rd is because Amen Thompson and Malik Monk are both multi-position eligible.
Right. I mean, listen, like I said, dude, the minutes, elite. The production's been elite. Scoring's been really good. He's been rebounding the basketball. Like, what's to hate about a guy that plays no less than 35 minutes?
Do you think this game is competitive?
I think that Washington's a better team on the floor when they have players.
Correct. I agree.
Now, they're not a good team, right? But, like, give them some NBA caliber players out there today with Kuzma and Denny and Poole, I guess.
How dare you slight Johnny Davis like that?
And then maybe they hang around a little bit. But, dude, he played 36 minutes in a game they lost by 16. Like, he's also just playing in these games, right? So, I don't mind Denny. Again, obviously Amen Thompson's a bit more appealing, given sort of his recent run. He's been super efficient, the double-digit rebounding. Tonight they have him projected for 8.5 rebounds, so like kind of on that as well. His point prop is set at 12.5, which, I mean, he's gone over that in 5 of the last 6. So, maybe some leverage there given the minutes he's been playing in this matchup against Chicago, but it is a big pace down spot for them. So, something to at least look at maybe, or at least consider there. Murphy's here at $5,900. We'd always live to go off. Herb Jones under 5K, not a terrible spot for him. What else are you looking at for some value here? Do you dip any toes in the Duarte pool? Someone's
Probably.
playing for Hoarder, right?
Someone's playing for Herder. I mean, I assume like Ellis and Harry B are just like
Yeah.
extended, and then like Duarte is probably going to get teens minutes, but I don't think 39. If he was a little cheaper, maybe.
Okay.
I don't think there's like Derek Jones is getting a lot of ownership, which that's just a little sketchy because
Sure.
he had played 32 24 minutes 2 games prior. Derek Jones lost time to Exum. So I guess it's like Exum v. Jones for Dallas on a night-to-night basis. I don't know. I mean, I don't really want to play Derek Jones, but I'm just also calling out that 15% of the field is getting to Derek Jones. He's the 5th highest rostered small forward of the day. It's kind of weird, no?
Yeah.
So just throwing that out there as well.
Okay. Power forward. Again, Giannis up at the top. I would play Giannis if he's in. We'll find out. Banchero and Zion are battling up against one another. I'm not sure how you feel about that matchup. And then you have a lot of the guys we've discussed here already. Kuzma at 81. Obviously, if Giannis is out, Bobby Poe becomes a super play for everybody here today. Keegan at 58. Like, where are you looking when it comes to the top half of power forward?
Yeah, I mean, Giannis is interesting. We'll see how many minutes he would play off a hamstring. It's been a week. He's missed 2 games.
Yep.
We'll see, right? Obviously, Brooklyn has nothing to slow him down necessarily. I mean, he's averaged 34, 11, and 6 against them. So, that's pretty good. Paolo and Zion, I feel better about like just watching in real life. That feels fun. But maybe not some. I mean, you can get to him in tournaments if you want. Not something that I'm necessarily prioritizing. Kuzma's interesting. Washington's lineup is interesting. Like, do they go Kuzma at the 5? That doesn't seem optimal with Sabonis on the other end, but like, is Rashawn Holmes a better option at center? I don't know. Maybe spacing the floor is a better option for Washington. So Kuzma's fine in tournaments, especially if that game's going to stay competitive. He's obviously a big reason why. And then like you said, Bobby Portis is highly intriguing. What if Portis? Do you think you can make a case for Jabari as a pivot if Giannis is out, or do you just bite the bullet?
No. Yeah, if you want to plug in Jabari and then pivot to Portis, I have no problem.
No, I'm saying it flip that
other way around.
I'm saying like if we get news Giannis is out, all the ownership's going to flood to Bobby Portis. That's
sure,
right?
So you're saying go opposite of chalk there and just play Smith?
Yeah, would that be something that you would consider, or would you just like eat the chalk and play Portis? Because
if you don't eat the chalk and he goes off like he's been the last 2 games, you lose, right?
Even the last 3 times we've seen, because Giannis missed that Clippers game and he went for 50 in that game too.
Right. So I probably just play Bobby Portis here, but like if you want to build your lineup with Jabari, so you have the money to go down versus Portis, and then you have to kind of maneuver your lineup to save money available, like that sort of makes some sense here. Value of power forwards, Hendricks, I think, with no Collins could be interesting. Cam Johnson, 51, no Dorian Finney-Smith tonight. PJ Washington was getting some ownership love. He's at 5K. Anybody else for you?
Yeah, here's the 4 highest rostered power forwards today, John. You ready?
Okay. Yep.
PJ Washington, nearly 26%. Dylan Brooks, 4,400, 24%. He had like 2 fantasy points the other day. Aaron Gordon, 5,600, 22 fantasy point or 22%. And then Keegan Murray, 5,800, 19%. Who are you most likely to play of that quartet?
Aaron Gordon, maybe?
I almost like, I don't know if I want to play any of them. I know IC30 was in chat right now hoping we'd say PJ Washington because
Aaron Gordon has been pretty decent filling out the stat sheet, like safer floor than the other guys.
Who do you think of the four? Do you think Keegan? My answer would probably be Keegan for ceiling of the four. I would say
Sure.
Keegan Murray probably has the highest ceiling of the group.
Yeah, I mean, if he hits all the threes, I guess.
Yeah. But he's also the most expensive.
Yeah, it's not a terrible matchup for Washington, knowing that what Utah has at the front court for them.
Sure.
But
Agreed.
it's hard to bank on anybody shooting other than Luke and Kyrie. So
I know.
And I'm not playing Dylan Brooks. I don't care. Not if there's a fire. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he had two fantasy.
I'd rather play Cam Johnson over Dylan Brooks.
Agreed.
Big one.
I agree. And also, like, on the PJ front, we're already like kind of talking about Exum. Like, how many other ancillary pieces of and we're going to talk about a center too. How many other ancillary pieces do we want at Dallas that's not Luka Doncic, right? Like, it's really hard to, like, if Chicago's super shorthanded, any Torrey Craig appeal? Like,
we've been down that road before. Obviously, didn't really pay.
I'm just throwing it out there as like I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, I think what's his name? Bateem.
Yeah.
On the wrap is like gonna see it get extended, and then I've been trying to figure it out because, like, I know Kobe's expected to play after going through practice, but still is officially listed questionable. So
center position here, Joker's 12K, Sabonis 11K, your top two guys. I really like Nikola Vucevic here tonight, though. Until the Claxton news came through, I was probably going between him and Sharp at center for me tonight. Again, I think this is a spot where he can really take advantage of just with the front court that Houston's going to be putting out there. I think we could see the double-digit rebounds and the 20-plus points out of him here tonight. So I do like this for Vuk. If I wasn't spending all the way up, where are you feeling on center tonight?
There's nothing really new that we haven't talked about. Like, you can obviously get to Jokic if you want. Sabonis is what he is. I mean, 55 fantasy points in 27 minutes. So that's why the field's getting to him tonight, right? Like, if you want to play him and not Luka, you can. But he's also 11K now, so that's obviously a different pricing tier than we've seen Sabonis all year. I think it's the first time he's been 11K. Yeah, first time all year he's been this price. So second leg of a back-to-back, I'm not saying it's an amazing spot if you want to play him. So play him if you want. Vooch is definitely interesting. I think Jabari Portis, interesting. I don't hate the Claxton idea at 6,300 now that he's in. The only concern is he's ill. So
for how many minutes he ended up getting out of that?
Yeah, I mean, what if he's still, I mean, he didn't go to shoot around. So is that a good sign or a bad sign? This is the Keontae George we just saw, right? Like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Was sick, didn't go through shoot around. Will Hardy said, "Oh, we're good. He's good we were told he's good. He warmed up. He played 6 minutes, never played again." Right? It's like, well, what if that happens here? So maybe there is still a little bit of appeal for Day'Ron Sharpe ultimately, just with how uncertain sometimes guys with illnesses are.
Yeah.
But I think like Gafford at 57 is interesting now that he's kind of taken over as the primary center. I mean, it's basically a split with Lively, but Lively 16 minutes last game. They're still good, but and then Landale, Nance, Sharp on the value tier. I think you can make a case for Sean Holmes if he starts. You can, if there's no Kobe White or Caruso, you could see the Bulls be super weird and start drumming Vooch. Just stick one of them on like Dylan Brooks or something on the perimeter. Right. And the Isaac thing, 3,900 price decrease after not playing in the second half, just simply because they were blowing them out. Probably gets back up to like 20 minutes or so. So I think there's like a bunch of kind of interesting value. I didn't mention Walker. What do you think of Walker Kessler, 55?
If he starts, I think there's a path.
No Collins, right?
No Collins, right? I guess we talked about this the other day, right? So like he could play, but then we also have Yurt 7 down here that could end up seeing like 20 minutes. Where is he? Right.
But they gave Micah Potter the backup center minutes yesterday, which I don't know that we just don't know what the like we don't know what their rotation ever.
Yeah.
Which is why like it's super scary.
Well, that's the thing with Kessler, right? Like I would like to have confidence that he plays 25.
Yeah.
But 5,500, 25, he played 30 against Minnesota. It was nice to see. So I don't think I end up playing him. I don't think I would get there.
He's the third highest rostered center of the slate.
Yeah, I don't think I do that.
Darren Sharp's still getting 8%, by the way.
Because they can think about it. They could also just they play like PJ at the 5 on some lineups, and like Kessler's not gonna be out there for that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of where I'm at. All right, let's build. Where are we starting based off ownership and our top plays today?
Probably Amen Thompson is probably like one of the first plugs we'd want, right?
Yeah. Amen at small forward. Can we do the Luka build? Amen Thompson and Luka is 51. So it's plugging in Keon down here.
I mean, that's your decision. I don't. If you don't want to play him, he does like kind of have a lowish floor.
No, we'll be fine. Can we get Vuk? 47. Let's see. It's so gross that everybody's playing Dylan Brooks.
I know. Gross. We don't. Well, let's just not play Dylan Brooks, like you said. They can have him. Let him have him, John.
They can have him. Yeah, I agree with you on that. They can have him. Let's see. Nance is 45. Gives us a
Nance is very interesting tonight. No? Yeah. I mean,
no arguments here. If you had to pick a PJ Washington or Herb Jones tonight, where'd you go?
How chalky are we? Luka, Exum. We're not very chalky. You can go PJ.
Okay. Gives us 3 Dallas guys. Got Luka, Exum, Thompson, Cam J, Vucevic, Ellis, Washington, and Nance. Let's see. Probably need to flip this around somewhere. Can we? Yeah, we can't because he's a center only. So.
What are we looking? What are you looking for here? We're trying to flip
your thing, doing your thing to make sure that the.
We don't have
the walk times are set up.
Luka and Keon would be the only.
Sure. Thing. Keon and Luka. All right. Keon Ellis, Dante Exum, Eamon Thompson, Cam Johnson, Larry Nance, Luka Doncic, PJ Washington, Nikola Vucevic gets in our guy Luka. I got 3 Dallas here in that matchup against Utah, so that could obviously get a little hairy here. But not overall. It's how you fit Luka in your lineup if you're going to jam in some other spends. So,
Yep.
Playbook is out. Obviously, updates will be coming through. I got to go get ready to go on SiriusXM with Bender and Bowden. So if you have SiriusXM subscription, tune into the Fantasy Alarm Show. I'll be on there giving some best bets and DFS plays for today's slate. Of course, I'll also be in the Discord up until roster lock 7 o'clock. So get your questions in there. Be on the lookout for updates to the playbook. For now, everybody, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you then. Good luck with your brackets, everybody. Talk to you later.